In the world of Breaking Bad, Walter White is a man of many faces. He is a chemistry teacher, a father, a husband, and one of the most dangerous manipulators in television history. Walter White doesn't always need violence to get what he wants. Sometimes a simple word, a glance, or a perfectly timed lie is enough to bend people to his will. Today, we are counting down Walter White's 10 most manipulative moments. Moments that prove that Heisenberg's greatest weapon wasn't his chemistry, it was his mind. At number 10, we have Walter's quiet revenge on Gretchen and Elliot Swartz. Walter doesn't confront them directly, nor does he admit the truth to his family. Instead, he constructs a clever lie, claiming that Gretchen and Elliot are funding his cancer treatment. It's a story that hides the truth of his illegal empire while satisfying his pride and need for control. By doing this, Walter turns past humiliation into a personal victory. He uses people like chess pieces, quietly and subtly, without anyone realizing they are being played. This moment shows his ability to manipulate situations and people without anyone noticing, a skill he will continue to use throughout the series. At number 9, we see Walter controlling Jesse's emotions in one of the most famous lines of the series, "I'm in the empire business." Jesse wants out, he wants to quit, but Walter doesn't threaten him or yell. Instead, he appeals to Jesse's ambition and his desire to feel important. With just a single line, Walter pulls Jesse back into the world of meth. He makes Jesse feel like part of a grand vision, part of something bigger than himself. This is manipulation through ambition and emotional leverage. Walter understands what Jesse needs to hear, and he uses that knowledge to keep him under his control. It's brilliant, calculated, and chilling at the same time. At number 8, we have the moment Walter plants the idea that Gus may have poisoned Brock. Walter doesn't need proof. He doesn't need evidence. All he needs is to carefully introduce the possibility, knowing that Jesse's fear and anger will do the rest. By controlling Jesse's perception, Walter transforms him into a weapon against Gus. This is manipulation at its finest. He doesn't force Jesse, he guides him subtly, using his emotions to achieve his own ends. It is a masterclass in psychological control, showing that the mind can be more dangerous than any weapon. At number 7, Walter's manipulation reaches a terrifying level when he lets Jane die. Jane is choking, and Walter watches. He does nothing to save her. He doesn't push her, he doesn't intervene. He simply allows events to unfold, fully aware of the consequences. By remaining silent, he removes a problem without anyone suspecting his involvement. This is manipulation through inaction, a calculated decision that reveals the darkest corners of his mind. It is a moment that shocks viewers, but also shows how precise and cold his manipulative skills have become. At number 6, Walter constructs a lie about his house being soaked in gasoline. When the incident occurs, he tells the authorities and those around him that it was a malfunctioning gas pump. He delivers the story with confidence, explains technical details, and convinces everyone it is true. This demonstrates Walter's understanding of human psychology. People will accept a lie if it is delivered with certainty. His confidence becomes his weapon, and he manipulates the truth to protect himself while maintaining his image as a victim. At number 5, Walter convinces Hank that Gale was the real Heisenberg. By carefully guiding the investigation, subtly feeding information, and planting doubt, Walter shifts the perception of the case. He buys himself precious months to expand his empire. This is manipulation through intelligence, strategy, and understanding of human behavior. One conversation, one carefully orchestrated set of words, changes the entire balance of power. It shows that Walter's mind is as lethal as any weapon he has ever used. At number 4, Walter manipulates his wife Skyler by playing the victim. Whenever Skyler gets too close to the truth, Walter becomes the helpless husband. He cries, he pleads, he talks about family, illness, and responsibility. Every emotional card he can play, he does. He manipulates through vulnerability, making Skyler question her instincts while he keeps his secrets hidden. This is a subtle, deeply personal form of manipulation that highlights Walter's ability to control even those closest to him with psychological precision. At number 3, Walter manipulates Jesse into killing Gale. This is one of the most terrifying examples of his mind games. He doesn't physically coerce Jesse, he doesn't order him to act. Instead, he corners Jesse with logic and fear. If Gail lives, both Jesse and Walter die. Walter weaponizes Jesse's trust and indecision, turning him into a killer without lifting a hand. It is manipulation at its darkest, showing how far Walter is willing to go to protect himself and achieve his goals. His intelligence and ruthlessness combine to create a scenario where Jesse acts exactly as Walter intended. At number 2, we have the moment in the desert when Walter calls the neo-Nazis during the showdown with Hank. Walter first pleads for Hank's life, appealing to family loyalty. When Hank refuses, Walter immediately flips the situation. He makes a phone call, manipulates the neo-Nazis into doing what he needs, and manipulates Jesse into thinking Hank is safe. This scene is pure psychological warfare. Walter manipulates multiple parties simultaneously, thinking 3 steps ahead, and demonstrates that his mind is always calculating, always in control, even in the most desperate moments.
But things don't always go as planned, and sometimes the consequences are dire.
Finally, at number 1, the ultimate example of Walter White's manipulation is the phone call to Skyler. Walter deliberately plays the monster on the phone, insulting her, threatening her, all while the police are listening. It's an act, a performance, designed to protect Skyler while taking full responsibility for his crimes. This manipulation is the highest level because it combines calculation, timing, and risk. It is chilling, it is brilliant, and it is the pinnacle of Walter White's skill as a manipulator. Walter White was never just a chemistry teacher or a drug kingpin. He was a strategist, a manipulator, a man who understood human behavior better than anyone in Breaking Bad. Every word he spoke, every glance he gave, every silence he maintained was calculated. He played the people around him like chess pieces, always thinking several moves ahead. And that, more than anything, is why Heisenberg will always be unforgettable.